the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. The show that gives you the lowdown on how to become a successful real estate entrepreneur. With more than 30 years of experience, America's top female real estate investor Dwan is an expert in financial freedom and turning dreams into realities. Now's your chance to become a Dwandernaire with the help of Dwan. Here's to a flaming hot foreclosure market with the help of Dwan. Cheers.
Hey everybody, welcome to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever. I'm so excited to be here with you again this week. So my name is Dwan Bent Twyford. I am America's most sought after real estate investor, and I'm bringing you another really exciting episode of Inside the Minds of Today's Millionaires. And we have just a beautiful mind to explore today. And our goal here on that specific session is to try to find out what it is that helps someone go from, over here to up there. And what are they doing? And what could they do that you could apply in your own life and maybe help you advance a little bit further along in your career? Because every successful person has a turning point or a story or something that helped them. So the more of those you know, the better chance you have of getting to where you want to go. Now, our motto at Dwanderful is people before profits. So if that resonates with you, you are at the right place. And today, our guest is Mel Dupris. She's going to be very exciting. And so we're going to start off with, first we're going to say hi. How are you? Thanks for coming on the show today, Mel. I'm excited to talk to you today.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank you so much for having me, Dwan.
It's going to be so much fun. And so everyone that watches on the regular, they know we do drinks with Dwan. So we like to start off, have a little cheers or a toast or whatever we're drinking, and just sort of, let people feel like they're listening in on our conversation. So what are we having today? I'm having tea.
I'm having a latte from Starbucks.
Oh, well, cheers, girl.
Cheers to
and
you.
Cheers to all of you listening with us today. My live enzyme tea. I'm so in love with it. So everyone just take a deep breath, shake up all your stuff, open your mind to listening and to learning. And Mel, so what we're going to ask you to do is to sort of just give us a summary of who you are today and how we can reach you. And then we're going to backtrack and see how you got here. So basically, we want you to tell us, what's your deal?
Yes, and hello everyone. My name is Mel. I'm well known on social media as Investors Mel and Dave, and we're full-time real estate investors. We're Canadians. We specialize in buying multifamily properties using none of our own money and without joint venture partners. So we now solely own over 200 apartments, and we're well known to have purchased 12 properties in less than 12 months a couple of years ago.
Nice. So, and tell everyone how they can get a hold of you. So I just want to make sure that your information is in the show notes at least twice.
Yes, well, thank you. I appreciate that. So we're always Investor Mel Dave. So whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, it's always Investor Mel and Dave. So you can just follow us there or give us a DM if you want any additional information.
Nice. I love that. So, I really love the fact that y'all do multifamily.
Yes, correct.
I feel like multifamily it's a really great side of the real estate investing industry. How long have you been investing?
So about 10 years.
Nice.
Yeah, between Dave and I, 20 years combined. So yeah, so let's put that in half.
Nice. Well, less than 10 years, that's a solid track record. You said you have 200
apartments, yeah.
Apartments. Nice. Look at you, girl. That's awesome. I mean, that really is super awesome. I feel like one of the things about, I like multifamilies personally. And I feel like a lot of people are sometimes afraid to step into that because it seems like too big.
Right.
Do you find that? If you're like, oh, multifamily, I don't know. Do you find that sometimes?
I do find, there's, and I think, at the end of the day, multifamily is anything from a duplex to a 50-plex or 150-plex. So it really is everything in between. And I had that fear as well when I started off. I remember we had certain amount of apartments. I think we had 18 apartments at that time, so 18 doors. And then I bought a 17-plex, and it was like, I'm doubling my portfolio like that. And 17 compared to a triplex seemed like so much. but it doesn't take time that you adjust your systems and your procedures, and you just make it happen.
You do. I always tell people it's like whether you're working on like a single family home or a duplex or a multifamily or $100,000 house or a $500,000 house. I think people are afraid of like the extra zeros.
Right.
It's like they'll do $100,000 house, but then if it's a million, it's like, oh, it's a million. But it's the same deal.
Exactly.
It's
And
just more zeros. People are afraid of the zeros.
yeah, I agree. It's just that fear of the unknown and fear of can I handle it? And again, if you can take care of a duplex and yeah, you'll be able to adjust. Yes, you might have to have an extra team member or whatnot, but you can still get into bigger ones as well.
Nice. Now, do you buy in Canada and the United States or around the world? Like, where do you all mostly invest?
Yeah, so right now we're only in Canada for now, but we are in the middle of setting up our LLCs. We definitely want to invest in the States as well because there's a lot of opportunities there. So we're working on that right now.
So much opportunity in the States. I'm sure in Canada as well.
Yes,
I'm
of
sure.
course.
So, do you mind if I ask how old you are?
Yeah, no, it's ironically, it's my birthday today. So I'm 42 today.
Hey, woohoo! Happy birthday.
Thank
You
you.
know, I would sing happy birthday to you, but I'm afraid you'd be traumatized after you heard my voice. Wow. Happy birthday. Thank you for
Yes.
taking time on your actual birthday. So you've been investing so you started investing basically around 30, 32.
Yep.
You know what's so funny? That is exactly when I started investing as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I ended up being a single mom at 30. And by the time I was 32, I was full in investing. And I hate to tell you this, I am 62 years old now. So
Oh, wow.
I
You
have,
certainly don't look it.
wow, that's why I keep my hair pink because it throws people off. I never really know how old I actually am. But I was around the same age and I don't know, I felt like for me that was just like a good time to start taking life seriously because I was not like the most serious person in my 20s. So basically, so what were you like younger? Like you started investing say around 30, 32. So what was Mel? What was like teenage Mel? What were you doing then?
Yeah, so younger Mel, I mean, I was starting off with, I had a lot more fear, but I knew that I liked the idea of having that extra paycheck coming in from real estate. And this is prior to Dave as well. So I just started purchasing a couple properties and I knew that I knew that it would make a difference in my life. And then I was also I was previously married and had a separation and went through all of that and I was living in a small 2-bedroom apartment and I knew that I wanted a better life for myself and for my kids as well. And I knew that from a financial perspective, I could get there with real estate investing. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to do this in a big way. And I had set myself a goal to buy 10 properties by the time I was 40 and I was in my 30s. And I remember so many people telling me like, Mel, why would you want to do that? You don't have enough money. You're too young to do that. You have to, all these kind of comments. My uncle did it and he lost everything. So it just came from everywhere, but I just set myself that goal. And then before I turned 40, I had, I think, I don't know, 28 or 30 apartments by then. So, or buildings by then. So yeah, it's absolutely doable. Once you realize the potential and once you throw creative financing in there as well.
Yeah, it's so funny because as you're saying that, with people saying, oh, you can't, you won't make it, but I heard the exact words from my family too. You're a single mom, you don't have any experience, you didn't finish high school, you have no college, you can't just go be a real estate investor. I'm just like, well, why not? Why not? Oh. And then, one thing I learned way back then, which I hear a lot of people say today, is never take advice from the people, and they love you. They all mean well. I know that they mean well for us,
100%.
but if you got someone making, $15 an hour over there telling you not to go be a real estate investor, that might not be the best person to take advice from.
Exactly. And we all do it, right? Because that's kind of how we're brought up, that you should listen to your parents. You should listen to your friends or your family and even coworkers. And I realized that as soon, it was one of my mentors that had told me that You need to stop taking advice from people who are less successful or at the same level as where you are. And again, it's nothing bad, but again, would you get a dentist who's educated and all that to do heart surgery on you? Of course not. It's kind of the same
No.
situation. Yeah, they're good to love you and support you, but not for financial advice.
Gosh, that just makes me. It doesn't make me happy to hear that you went through the same thing, but it just sort of makes me happy to know that all. And I don't know if it's just a woman thing, but it seems like all of us hear the same thing from the people that really do mean well. But I
Yes.
feel like if I had been a man, my dad would have been like, "Oh yeah, go out there and rehab some houses. You can do it. You know how to fix stuff. You're a guy." I feel like that would have been instead of like, "Oh honey, you can't do it. You don't know anything about rehab. You can't do that. You need to like get married and get a husband."
Right.
Like, I just got rid of one over there. That's why I'm a single mom right now. I just got rid of one. I don't want another one.
Right.
I'm mad at that one still. So I feel like I would have been given different advice
Right.
had I been. And nothing against you. Listen, you all know men, you know how much I love you men. But sometimes I think men don't realize that the advice they're given versus the advice women are given is very different. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah, no, I would agree quite often, right? It's that whole perspective. I mean, I'm part of a last year we even released a book. I'm co-author of Dave and I have our own book, but I'm co-author of a book as well, and it's the only woman in a room, and that's exactly what it is that, and it's about the one that put this together had spoke about how she went to a real estate investing conference and there was hundreds of people, but essentially only 2 table full of women in
Yes.
that huge room, right? And it's that kind of thing. And now we're seeing more and more real estate investors who are females as well. But yeah, when I started off, same thing, right? And it's almost even speaking with lenders, sometimes I felt like even if Dave is there, it kind of gave that extra boost of confidence that there was a man around, and now I don't take that anymore. Now like I've got this, but yeah, it's different. Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so funny. My very first real estate investing conference I ever went to, there was about 85 people there, and there was me and one other woman. And I was looking around like, where are all the women?
Where are they?
Do women not? And then for a minute there, I was like, do women not do this? I thought, well, I've already done like 5 or 6 deals, and I'm going to keep doing it. I don't care what everybody else is doing. I'm going to keep doing my own thing.
Yeah.
So it is funny. It is funny. So when you were like teenage, like young and teenage, were you thinking about business? Were you thinking about like getting married? Were you thinking about real estate even in your teens? Where was your head when you were a teen?
Not real estate in my teens. I always liked business because my dad had a business, so it was kind of in me, and I always liked doing some kind of entrepreneurial, create our own game business and get paid for that, for people to participate, like just those kind of things. So it was kind of naturally part of what I did, that business aspect. And I knew that I was actually going to school to be in business. At first it was in accounting, and then I quickly shifted and got into marketing instead. But so I knew I wanted to do business, but I didn't even realize what that meant yet. I didn't know if it was running my own business. I just knew that I liked business for some reason. So that's where I was at. And no, I mean, real estate wasn't even something in school that I've ever even would have thought about, because I never heard of a real estate investor. Like it just wasn't
I didn't either.
a landlord. Like it just didn't, there wasn't podcasts like this. There wasn't that kind of information where I went, oh, that could be a possibility. So that came later on in life.
That is funny because I had never heard of it either. And when I met the people that were real estate investors, like, hey, you should do this. You buy houses, you fix them up, and you sell them. So I thought that meant decorating. I was like,
Right.
oh, I have excellent taste. I can definitely decorate houses. But that's not what it was. It was actually rehabbing. I didn't even know what it meant. I did my first house without even really knowing what I was even doing. It's like, oh my God. And then it's just so funny how we take steps and we just take that step of faith. And next thing you know, we're like, hey, look at us doing this over here. So
Right.
tell me about one of your best deals. Because you've got, I love the fact that you have multifamily. I am a huge multifamily fan. I have 15 multifamily buildings as well. So I am a huge fan of that. So tell me one of your best deals, like kind of the structure, like how did this deal happen? And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be the most money, just like what was like your favorite deal?
Oh man, I don't think I have a favorite one, but I think it's the concept behind it
Okay.
that I do, and it's because I've become limitless when I do it this way. So, and I can give you a couple of different examples to keep
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But basically, it's I buy properties using none of my own money and without joint venture partners. So I do a lot of owner financing, for example. So I would go to financial institution, for example, 80% or 70%, depending of the deal, whatever they're willing to finance up to. And then the owner would hold financing for the rest of the property. So essentially, I'm literally buying this property using none of my own money, and I solely own it. Sometimes I have to put money into it. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes they really are minimal. Sometimes they're just
Yeah.
really underperforming. The rents were really low, and I'm able to force the appreciation, cash out, pay back everyone, and do it over and over again. And the nice thing as well is that while I'm doing this one property, I'm not buying. And that's why I did 12 properties in 12 months, because I can do it with this property, and then I repeat it on another one, I repeat it
Yep.
on another one while I'm lifting each of the properties.
Nice. So you're getting a homeowner, or yeah, the owner of the building. So let's just use something really small so everybody listening, in case like you think like, oh, a big 15 unit sounds scary. We'll bring it down to like a duplex. How about that? And
Perfect.
then just remember, you can duplex, triplex, fourplex, 15. You own a 100 unit building. It's the same thing. It's just a little, like you said, it's just like maybe it's an extra team member. So let's go to something like, say, like a duplex, something smaller. So you would find the deal, and how do you find that deal?
So I do both off listed and also working with investor focused agents. So I love finding deals, and the more deals my way, the better, right? If I'm looking at
Yes.
2 deals a week and my neighbor is looking at 20, who's going to win? And I want to win. So I'm the one looking at a lot of deals. So both off market and listed as well. And then depending if I have an agent, I would work through my agent, of course, because if it's listed, that's how people usually want it. I
Right.
go to my agent to put in the offer. If it's not listed, then I would be finding and contacting the owner and proposing the creative financing piece by explaining the benefits. And the reason people want to do it is because it benefits them. They don't just do it because they like Mel, like who's Mel, right? When especially back then, when we were doing this, nobody knew who Investor Mel and Dave were. And that's something I think it's really important to remember, because then some people may see us and like, yeah, but you guys have a name and a business, and that's why people want to do business with you. No, we all started somewhere where we didn't have that kind of reputation of doing
Nothing.
this. And you just have to show them your exit strategy, make it a win-win.
Huh?
There's tax benefit for them, and that's why they want to do it.
So see, I am a big fan of owner finance as well. I do a lot of subject twos.
Nice.
Do you guys do a lot of subject twos?
Yeah, and it's different here. We don't call it subject to, and that's the thing. There's a lot of different terms between.
So what do you call it there?
So here it's basically owner financing or vendor take back. A lot of Canadians,
Oh,
yeah, vendor take back. Yeah.
Vendor take back. Hold on, this is a new word for me.
And you know what? It's the same thing. It's essentially owner financing. It's just another term that's used quite often here in Canada. So VTBs.
I love it. Vendor take back. That's a good. See, I should use that word in America, because people go, does Dwan
Ooh.
have a new secret? I've never heard of that. So yeah, I'm a huge owner financing fan too, because the people that are allowing you to basically take over their payments, right?
I don't take, no, they're holding, no. So
Or
I
they're
don't take
holding the note. They're saying like, I'm going to hold this bunch of money as like a mortgage. They're holding a note for
exactly.
you.
So they become like a bank. Yeah.
They become like a bank. Okay. Yeah. And that's like a win-win for them too, because they're getting out from underneath their deal. And then you're getting some of your financing, and then they're holding the piece of it that you need to be held so that you can make the transaction happen, and gets them out from underneath whatever it is about the deal that they need to be out from underneath it.
Yeah. And they get paid interest, and there's tax benefit for them. So they don't have
Yeah.
to pay all the taxes in the same year. So that's why they do it.
Nice. I love that. We do something here called, it's like a subject too. It's called a wraparound mortgage, where we'll sell a house to a person and like we'll supply them with a mortgage. And so I get to be the bank. So I really like that, because then I'm not dealing with the toilets, the tenants. Like, I don't, hey, if someone set the toy down your toilet, I'm the bank man. Don't even be calling me about that.
Right.
I don't care about that. So
Right.
I have found that throughout the years, because I've been doing this 30 years now, the more I can like be the bank or be the financer and not be like the person that gets the phone calls, or, my guy gets the phone calls, I'm much happier with it.
Nice. That's great.
It's just so much nicer that way. What's your biggest deal?
It was a 50-plex that we purchased last year.
A 50-plex.
Yes. And that one, we were not able to get owner financing. So we actually got a promissory note, and it was a substantial promissory note to leverage the deal. And I think we used somebody's RSPs as well. I think it was kind of a 3-way creative financing on that one, which is essentially equivalent to a 401k in the States.
Yes. So not to be like overly nosy, but like how much would a 50-plex cost? Like what kind of a dollar amount does it have on it?
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember that one. I think it was around 1.1 or so.
Nice. See, I think those are awesome deals like that. I just feel like I feel like a lot of people are afraid of the really big deals. Now, I think in Canada, your property values are more than ours.
It depends on the areas. Like we have some areas in Vancouver that is super hot, and Toronto and Montreal's getting there. So it just depends of the market. We're kind of a secondary markets. So our properties compared to elsewhere, I mean, elsewhere you'd be paying that for a 5-plex. So it just depends of the market you're in.
It does. I watched, and I know it has nothing to do with anything, but that show, Love It or Illicit.
Yes.
And I remember the first time watching, thinking, wow, those houses are so expensive. Where are they finding those houses in America that are that, like these regular $1 million houses? But I was like, oh, they're in Canada. Okay, got it. Because in certain areas, the same house that might be in New York here would be so much more expensive over there. And so, and we have some friends actually over in Canada that do real estate investing. So it's like, it is a different market, but it's really interesting.
Yeah. No, and I mean, we've been able to find a lot of different deals from all kind of price ranges. And that's the thing, wherever you're at, whether you want to get into the bigger ones, into the 1 million up, or you want to get to the 2,000 or 3,000, just based on where you are financially and your comfort level as well. There's different markets.
Yeah, the average price, like the average price in America, if you just go average like across the nation, average is about 250,000. But which is just the average. But I personally like to work a little bit pricier houses, because it is the same concept, but there's just maybe there's an extra zero to it at the end of my paycheck too.
Right.
It's like, hey, if I can do $100,000 house or a $500,000 house and it's the same concept, I'll just do this more pricier one. But how do you think people kind of get over? Like, do you have like a tip or a trick or something that kind of can help people get past the fear of doing a duplex versus a 50-plex?
Probably
what is like a solid piece of advice someone could go, you know what? That's why I'm stuck. Mel just nailed it on the head.
Get a mentor. Get a mentor, because there's so much. I think the reason people are fearing getting to bigger ones faster is because of the extra zeros. And that is scary, because now all of a sudden, if you have a roof to repair, you're looking at a lot more dollars. If you buy the wrong property, if you don't know how to manage tenants, if you don't have your exit strategy, like all these if, well, a mentor can make sure that you know how to analyze deals, know how to find deals, know how to do your property management, know your exit strategy, your business structure, like all these kind of things that when you get bigger and bigger and bigger, not only can they help you grow faster, but it can also help you save thousands in mistakes, if not more, if not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. And I know we certainly have made a lot of mistakes ourselves, and I was very stubborn, and I thought I'm good on my own at first. And I thought I'm going to do it on my own and save a lot of money because I won't hire somebody. And yeah, I saved money, but it ended up biting me in the end because I made so many mistakes. Not because I'm not intelligent, but I love the saying, don't know what you don't know. And that's so true, right? It wasn't my
your mind. It's like you're taking the words out of my mouth. I tell people you learn by mentors or mistakes.
Yeah.
And no matter how much a mentor costs, trust me, it's cheaper.
It's cheaper than mistakes.
It is so much cheaper because people are like, oh, I'll figure it out. And, but saying that, I figured it out also, but I just don't feel like, and you figured it out too, but I don't feel like and I'm not saying this anything to, like to be against any people out there, but I feel like the average person that says, hey, I'm just going to muddle through and try and figure out real estate investing. I feel like the average person, if they make one little mistake or do one thing wrong or lose anything at all, that they would quit and go, well, that just didn't work. Whereas if they had somebody or they had like crazy determination, they would keep going and realize that if you just do it right, it works wonderful.
Yeah, exactly. And having that kind of network and knowing that it's possible and that person to turn to when there's an issue, and learning from other people's mistake, and having systems or strategies or forms or documents, like all these tools that can make life so much easier for you.
Do you guys offer all of that for people?
We do, yeah. So
Do you do
again,
mentoring and things like that?
we do, yeah. We have hundreds of I was going to send tenants that too, but we have hundreds of mentees now, and I love it. It's what I usually spend most of my time on is with the Action family, and what I love the most is really seeing the results, right? Because at the end of the day, that's all it's all about. It's not just teaching people, but it's seeing the results. And even on my Instagram page, we feature somebody every single week, somebody who's buying something, and that's just so powerful because it's life-changing. Real estate, you can make a lot of money, and it's not about the money, but it's about what money can provide, that freedom, that more time with your kids, or the money to help out your retired parents, or whatever situation you're in.
Yeah. It's funny. You and I'm happy to meet you because we really think so much alike, and I really appreciate really smart women that are on the ball, and like you really got your game going on. But it is the same thing. We do everything. We do buildings. We're actually about 15 buildings, and we're like rehabbing a town. So my husband and I have like completely lost our minds at this point, and and we just all this stuff like that. But out of all the things that we do, part of like my favorite place, like sort of where my heart lives, is when I work with a person and I see them close that deal and they send me a copy of that giant check, and they're like, oh my gosh, I was able to quit my job, and later maybe they become a millionaire, and I'm like, I had a hand in that.
Yeah.
And that just makes my heart like so happy because in my 20s, I waited tables. I did not have a business. You at least were like going to college, business, like going somewhere. I was working in bars and clubs and being stupid. So when I can help anybody make any money, I'm just like, I got fired from Denny's and now I just helped you become a millionaire. Look at me.
Right.
But look at you. I'm so excited for them.
I did not always have this mindset. However, I used to be the opposite. I used to have the scarcity mindset 100%. When we purchased the 12 properties in 12 months, I was terrified that somebody would find out, like terrified. I did not tell anyone. I didn't even tell my own mom how I was buying all these properties because I thought if somebody finds out our secret, there won't be enough for me. And that's just how I used to think. And then in 2018, we were on our way to a real estate investing conference and we got into a horrific car crash. It was a highway rollover caused by a transport driver. Yeah, we literally rolled 4 times. We landed upside down. Our SUV was completely crushed. And as we were going through it, of course, life slows down when you're about to die. And that's exactly what happened. And think about my kids and that I'll never see them again and they won't see Dave. And luckily we somehow survived. And after that day, everything changed. I never went back to work. I quit my job. And then I decided why are we not like, I want to leave a legacy behind. Yeah, we have properties, we have money, but now what? That's it. Like, I want to help more people do this because nothing special about this girl. If I can do it, anybody else can as well.
I say the same thing. I literally got fired from Denny's. Denny's, I'm sure they're in Canada. I got fired. I worked third shift and I'm like, who gets fired at like 3 o'clock in the morning at Denny's? And I always tell people like, listen, seriously, there's nothing special about me. I just had a lot of determination. I ended up being a single mom. I didn't want to go back and wait tables. But in the last several years, I started thinking like, hey, you know what? I'm going to leave a legacy, like for my kids, my grandkids, for people out there. I would like people to be hearing my podcast 100 years from now and going, that girl was so smart and she interviewed Mel and I loved her too. She was so awesome. Because I think it is important to sort of leave a legacy and not just me, spend, buy, and then you're out.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it takes a special heart because not everybody feels that way.
No, and sometimes it is a mindset thing. And once you realize that the more you give in an odd way, it kind of comes back. Like now I have connections. Now I'm meeting people like yourself that otherwise I maybe wouldn't have connected through social media. And it's just, again, it's amazing. I just love it.
I love it too. I call that you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
And I live my entire life by that. I do nothing that I feel like would smack me back on the face later. So it's like, no, if I'm going to do this, I got to sow good seeds because I need good to come back at me. So I'm very cautious about all those things like that. So let me, could you give us like 3 actionable tips that someone could listen to you and say, hey, you know what? These are 3 steps I could take in the right direction, and that they could, not that they're going to go close the deal without, any guidance whatsoever, but could you give us 3 actionable tips that somebody could use, learn, start to study, something?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of just slowing it down. And number one, pick a market. Where do you want to invest? Do you want to invest in your city? Are you comfortable with that? Are you open to going in different areas where maybe you cash flow more? What are your goals? Some people want to have, and what kind of investor do you want to be? Like, I guess picking a lane in both the market and your strategy as well, right? Do you want to do joint venture? Then go do that. Do you want to flip? Do you want to be more passive? Do you want to do multifamily? Do you want to solely own like I do? So pick a lane. And then of course, with that, pick a market where you want to do it. Then find lots of deals and analyze lots of deals. Are you noticing how I'm like putting 2 or 3 tips into each category?
I know, I love it. I am the massive note taker over here.
There we go. Analyze lots of deals so that we can find the right ones. And then make sure you do your due diligence, right? Have the right kind of conditions on it, get that inspection done. And if you need to walk away from the deal for whatever reason, never get emotionally attached to a building. This is a numerical, logical decision. It has to stay that way because it's about you and it's a business. You got to treat it like a business.
My favorite thing I say to people is I say, do not become emotionally attached to the outcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if the deal falls apart, then you're like, it's not a failure. Even if you do a whole bunch of work and your deal falls apart, I still consider that failure a success because it was a lesson.
Yeah. And I mean, and sometimes it's inexpensive. I mean, and I'm sure you've been through it where you put money, even it's costing you money as you're doing your due diligence. And they're like, and you were excited because exactly you saw the potential, but then something out of that potential changed and it's no longer the deal you thought it was. And it's not fun having to pull back, but it's one of those things that it's better to pull back now than get into something that you're not going to reap the benefit that you're really after. There's another deal around the corner, or sometimes it's funny how life happens. I've walked away from certain deals because something had changed, and years later we end up buying it and it worked out so much better. So you just never know as well.
I agree. And I think I think a lot of people, once they have that contract or that deal in their mind, they really just they almost like when you and I would say, we need to walk on this deal, but it's someone and that's the only deal they have, and maybe they're new, I feel like they try so hard and go so far out of the box to try to make that deal work, and instead of walking away. But I think sometimes it's because they don't have another deal lined up. So all their eggs are in this one basket and they're afraid like they just need a bigger basket,
Yes, 100%. You're bang on, because that's exactly what happens. You get so attached because all your eggs, you're bang on. I feel like we've known each other for way too long.
I know. It's like, girl, you are like my twin over here. But I've done the same thing. I've gotten, especially when I was newer. I mean, I would get a deal and I would work that deal to death, but I didn't have another one. But once I got deals and I'd had 10, 15 deals in my pipeline, it's like, you know what? This deal's just, and I would walk, but I didn't have, I'm talking like a decade before I had the courage to just walk away from multiple deals because I was always afraid I couldn't find another one.
Right, right. And you're bang on. Find lots of deals, have multiple ones going. Make sure you have you're doing your due diligence. Make sure you have the right kind of conditions. If you're putting in offers, that if you need to walk away, you can, right? So have the right kind of conditions. But yeah, having more than one, we always have lots of deals. So exactly. Sometimes it's the owner doesn't want to close till January for tax purposes. Well, I'm
Yeah.
not waiting till January. I want to close them more this year. So that's why I have other ones. And if for some reason they change their mind, that happens as well. That
Oh,
you think everything's going well, and all of a sudden they realize that, oh, we decided not to sell because of this, this, and this. And you
yeah.
go, well, all right, it's disappointing, but that's okay because I have these other 10 I'm working on.
I feel like multiple deals gives you choice.
Yes,
And then if you lose one, you don't have such a meltdown because you have 3 or 4. I always tell my students, I think you should have 10 deals, 10 active deals in your pipeline all the time, because out of those 10, probably half will fall apart anyway. And I don't
exactly.
want you to melt down when it happens. And when it does happen, it's okay. But also I think people need to be aware, like if a deal is going south, is it honestly something that the student didn't cover or recognize or make the homeowner or the owner feel confident? Is it something that the student did, or is it just the deal's just not happening?
Right.
Because sometimes people can just make deals fall apart, just out of their own. I worked with a guy one time. His name was Brian. He had the deepest voice, and he would talk. He'd be like, "What do you want?" Just real gruff. Wow, what do you want to do that for? And I'm like, dude, listen, you're gonna have to take some kind of lesson and learn how to soften that, because you're scaring people.
Right.
They don't want to work with you. And if you're the nicest guy in the face of the earth, but your voice is so aggressive sounding, people are terrified of you.
Right.
It's not going to happen. So let me ask you a couple of random questions.
Sure.
So Mel, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food. Ooh, I love Thai food.
Me too. Hardly anyone ever says Thai food. I love
Oh,
curry so much. Oh my God, I could just like drink it right up out of the bowl.
oh.
I love Thai
But
food.
but I like a lot of things too. I love sushi and
Yeah.
yeah, all that the
I'm like
typical
Thai,
Indian.
sushi, Indian. Like those are kind of like where I'm gonna go out and eat. Those are sort of like my playing fields. It's like, okay,
Just all those different tastes, right? Yeah.
right? It is. I love Indian food too. I love all the different tastes of everything. It's like, I grew up in, I'm famous in the South. So we grew up on like fried chicken, the very Southern fried chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans,
Right.
like all my life. And all that's great and wonderful. But it's like, I don't think I ever tasted a spice besides salt until I was an adult.
Right. And now
And
you're
I was like,
explaining it all.
what is all this food? Why? What's happening over here? Do you have a favorite band of all time?
Oh boy, favorite band. You know, it was my high school crush, Bon Jovi, and I still,
I
I
love
see
Bon
years,
Jovi.
years later, I still listen to him. So I'd have to probably go with him.
Yeah, he is so seriously gorgeous.
Yes, he is.
I'm
Yeah.
just like, dude, still gorgeous. I love Bon Jovi. It's funny that what's the one song, Going Down in a Blaze of Glory? Is that the name of
Mhm.
the song, Blaze of Glory? I tell my
Yes.
husband, I said, listen, we are the real estate rock stars. If anything ever happens to us, we have to be like going down in a blaze of glory, and they got to play that Bon Jovi song at our funeral. I
I
know,
love it.
weird and morbid. I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, she just like died in a slave. I'm like, no, I need to be like parachuting off some amazing thing and like blaze of glory out of here. That's how it's got to be for me. I love Bon Jovi. Good, excellent choice. You can tell a lot about people by the music they listen to. Have you seen Bon Jovi in concert?
I have, yes, twice.
I think it was so good. I love concerts too. So my last odd question. So do you have a place, and it could be anywhere. Do you have like a place that you go to or you've been and like you were like, one of those like you're standing there and you're looking around, you're like, wow, I can't believe I'm in this place right here. This is my favorite spot on the face of the earth. Do you have like a favorite spot?
We love Florida, so we go to Florida every year with the kids, and that's kind of our place to typically go. And last year I can't remember the name of it. I'd have to look it up, but it was it was kind of this site that you would go to, and it was just paradise. Everything was just beautifully done, and swimming with dolphins and doing all these fun things as well, activities. But it was just paradise. It was the most beautiful scenery ever that I've seen. So I'd probably say that was my favorite. Number one, because I just love Florida. We have so much memories there with the kids, and yeah, and probably just there because again we experienced this with the kids and just being there as a family.
I love Florida. So I actually have a second home in Florida. So next time you guys come, you have to come stay at my house.
Oh, look at
It's on the
that.
lake. It's a mile. It's in Delray Beach. It's a mile from the beach, and it's on a lake.
Nice. That's fantastic.
The water. So you're gonna have to come down and gonna come and stay with me for a day. Well, girl, I'll take you out. We'll go listen to live music, listen to Bon Jovi, all
There
kinds
you
of
go.
fun. And we'll eat Thai food.
Yeah. Perfect.
So at the end of all of our shows now, we always my Dwanderful family knows we do the 5 equities of life. And I kind of feel like if you sort of had a pie and you had each of these in there, that's kind of what makes us a whole. And pretty much everything that's in our life falls under a category. So the categories are spiritual, financial, physical, mental, and family. So we always, at the end of every show, I give out an equity and an assignment. And what we ask everyone to do is just to do it for a week. If it's something that you like and it really made the quality of your life better that week, keep doing it. And if you don't like it, at least you did something different for a week. So you're just kind of always shaking up your brain. So I like our guests to honor us. And everyone does know that I really, truly never know in advance what's gonna come out of my guest's mouth. So so honor us this week, please, and give us the equity and the assignment.
Okay. I would say I'm big on family, and I work full time with my spouse. I'm gonna go with family.
Good.
And as far as the assignment, this is something that we've been doing for years, and I still love it, and it just makes us such a tighter and better family. And it's just gratitude. So we'll go around the table and just name things that we're grateful for. So we'll name 3 things that we're grateful for in general, or just of our day. And we'll just kind of do that usually 3 times. And it's just amazing what comes out of the kids' mouth and Dave and myself. And we just feel, if ever you're having a bad day, even it just brings everybody tighter together and makes you just really appreciate what you have. And doesn't have to be materialistic here, like just being able to spend time together. And I enjoyed breakfast this morning at the table with my family, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's really sweet. So then each of you say something you're grateful, including your kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be anything that they're grateful for, just like a beautiful day outside. I got the most rock star mom. You can just anything. Hey, I'm grateful I got an A on my test. Just
exactly anything that you're grateful for. And it just completely, if you're having a bad day, you do that around the table, and you're just going to see everybody's mood feeling, it just makes everyone feel more grateful and happy.
It does. So whenever the assignment is, I actually do this assignment myself.
Oh, nice.
And so I always, because I want to feel what it feels like. And my daughter is living with me right now, and my mom's 84, and my husband. So the 4 of us. So I'm going to do that. I love that idea. What a great idea.
Well, thank you.
That is a great idea. That is just really super sweet. So tell us one more time how folks can reach you.
Yeah, so we're known as Investors Mel and Dave. We're on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook. So yeah, follow us and reach out to us if you want to find out more information about our strategies as well.
All right, so I'm going to do a little summary, and I'm going to see if we got inside of the mind of Mel Dupris just a little bit today. So your Investor Mel and Dave, which I like that. Y'all are in multifamily. You have about 200 apartments, and you've been doing this approximately 10 years. You are 42 and looking very fine, and today's your birthday. Happy birthday. And you started off in business, got into accounting, into marketing, and you wanted to own 10 properties by the time you were 40, which you did. And you think that it's a good idea for folks to have a mentor. They need to find their market, stay in their lane, analyze a lot of deals, do their due diligence, their inspections, and not be afraid to walk away from a deal if they have to. you like Thai food, a Bon Jovi, and you like Florida.
Perfect.
And you want us to be grateful this week and tell our family what we're grateful for.
Yes.
Yay. Did we get you a little bit?
That's perfect. I love it. Well done.
Nice. Nice. I love it too. All right, now folks, so we both run podcasts. So we all want our podcast to be the top one that it can be. So I ask everyone to go to Investors Mel and Dave, and I always want you to give them 5 stars and write a really nice review and follow them around on social media. And I ask you to do the same thing for me, the most wonderful real estate podcast ever, and stars, ratings, and you guys can find me at Dwanderful pretty much anywhere. So follow, like, do all the things like that. And what would be your last parting words of wisdom?
Action. No more thinking about it. Today, start taking action towards it, because we see so many people all the time thinking about it and wanting to do it and listening to podcasts, and that's all awesome, and keep doing that. But then you got to pick up the phone and say yes to that deal, or analyze it and put in that offer and do your due diligence, because otherwise you're going to fast forward 5 years from now and you still won't be where you want to be.
Amen, girl. That is the best advice ever, because that is so true. That is so true. All right, guys, I want to thank you all for tuning in. And remember, the truth is in the red letters. And we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Ciao, everybody. Thank you, Miss Mel. I truly, from my heart, enjoyed interviewing you and talking to you and getting to know you today. You are a rock star.
Thank you so much. It was great chatting with you as well, Dwan.
Thank you for dropping by to the most wonderful real estate podcast ever, making real estate investment wonderful each and every time. And for more information on how to make your real estate dreams a reality, keep an eye on dwanderful.com and be sure to become a member.